Hello, trading has closed on the 14th of February 2024. We always do our disclaimer first. We'll go over our calls, make some predictions. It's my trading plan for tomorrow, which is February 15th, 2024. Remember, I can be wrong. Trade at your own risk. I'm having some issues with my webinar. I used to be able to just send the webinar to anyone and it would go through immediately. When someone has a Yahoo address, I'm just having a lot of trouble. I'm certain it's me. I'm doing something wrong. I've been able to do it, but it's much easier if someone sends me a Gmail address. It just goes right through. Although sometimes, even though I give access, the person has to email me again, and then I just have to give them access. It's just kind of an extra email, but it works pretty effortlessly. Someone can talk me through this with the Yahoo. I've been able to do it so far, but keep forgetting how to do it. So if you have a Gmail address and you want the webinar, I'd appreciate it if you use that. If you don't, I'll be able to do it. It just takes me more time. Well, we look for the pattern with the early low, regardless of where we open, tends to be a rally day high in the final hour. That was it. We had this collapse yesterday, but I made the case for a rally even after this big collapse, and that certainly worked. We had a target of 49.5749. The target printed. These aren't just targets, they're also support levels, resistance and support. And that's a beautiful thing right there at the target. We have a new target from today's pattern, 49.7283. If we don't gap up smartly, that's my call. And that conflicts with a system of Larry Williams. He says if we drop in a straight line like this, the next day's an inside day. He looks for a rally the next day. Of course, it's possible both of these things happen. It's possible you'll hit this price and rally too. But just be aware those are conflicting things. Well, during the day, MEJT said this move up would retrace, said this drop would retrace, now says this move up will retrace, gives us the target, 49.7283. Well, this is a gap here, and that's a stilt. That's a stilt. And half a diamond's enough, so we have a diamond on stilts pattern. The low is the Fibonacci target of the diamond. Half a diamond's enough. It's common to get these patterns back to back, and that's what we have, because here's a stilt and here's a stilt. And if you look, today's high is the Fibonacci target of the diamond. Now, it's not the only target. This doesn't have to be 61.8. It could be 50. It could be 38.2. It could go up. But for right now, that's a target. This blue line is the origin of the left stilt. The first challenge of the origin, and multiple challenges the same day count as one challenge. Usually that's going to hold. We challenged it here, we challenged it here, broke through at the end with a wall into the close. This doesn't have to hold, but if this wall is panic purchasing, we'll gap down smartly at tomorrow's open, and this first challenge could still hold. That we're not going to know till the open. We think we've completed wave 1 up, but we never got confirmation of yesterday's drop, so we can't be positive of that. There also isn't anything in the counting rules of Elliott that prevents this from being an expanded flat and even going higher. We still have this island reversal. Here it's easier to see the stilt. Here's your other stilt. This was the count we had yesterday for A. You can count this as ABC for B. And you'd like a good FEB relationship with C equal to 618 times A. And it comes darn close, and maybe that's close enough. But I'd be happier if I didn't have to fudge this. And I always say this isn't the only way to count it. So let's look at an alternative count where you don't have to fudge. This could certainly be 1. That could be 2. And we could still be in wave 3. If that's 1 and that's 2, then you can count the third wave as wave 1. You have your A, your B, and your C, and there's this thing works with no fudging at all. And you've got 5 waves up in this wave red C. So all these fibs work. And if we stop here, if that's the right count, you got 5 waves up, and we're going to be in wave 3 down the multiple degree, which would be a collapse. Does it make it the right count? We could still go past this. But it certainly is a cause for alarm that all this rallying today couldn't do anything more than fill part of the gap. It's not really accomplishing much. Of course, time isn't up. We could still go up tomorrow, but so far it's not enough. And you've got wave balance right here and the lower target. We're going to have to use the mixed signals rules. I don't like to guess on these things. Tomorrow's pattern has the early low regardless of where we open. It is bullish. Yesterday's straight line drop is followed by an inside day. Larry Williams' rule says this should lead to a rally tomorrow, and that's been a pretty good rule. Just remember, tomorrow's open can substitute for today's close, so if we gap and promptly undercut yesterday's low, that kills the pattern. I mean, right now, by his work, that's a bullish pattern. You open down here, get another diamond on stilts, and these often occur back to back. Like this would be a stilt. There's your diamond. We gap down, that's another stilt. If that happens, that kills the pattern. It's negative, there's a lower target. And unless we gap up smartly, the rules call for it to print. There's a wave count which would justify dropping sharply at the open. Diamond on stilts patterns frequently occur back to back and even back to back to back, so such a gap down can't be ruled out. Here are the rules. Now, we don't have to gap tomorrow, but I think the odds favor a gap. I can frankly explain one in either direction, but there's real resistance right here. And if we gap down sharply, which hasn't happened yet, if we do, it should be a doozy. And if we gap up, there's nothing which stops us from even overtaking this high and having an expanded flat. So I've got mixed signals. If we don't gap up, there's a much lower target. And if we gap down, I think we could see lower than that. So we'll have to see where we open. It's a pattern with the early low. I think the open's going to be telling, and that's today's call.